Welcome to step 18. This is where we're basically building the tow box, tow launcher on the side of the vehicle. Pretty straightforward. Make sure that the hump is further this way. So the shorter end behind the hump is the back of the box. There is a tab there, so you know how to put it together. These just slide right on. Not really a big deal. Pretty simple. Put a little bit to hold it down, put a little bit more in there to make sure that it's glued. Same thing with the front piece. This also has a notch in one corner, and there's a notch on this piece so that you put these on the way that they were meant to be put on, as designed in the Tamiya drawing boards, whatever. One thing I noticed is on this edge and on this edge there was a little bit of flash, so it took a little bit more sanding than normal. I don't know if normal. Now moving on to the next step with this the way that it was. Again, rear is that way. When you put this together, this holding arm, whatever complex, has got to go towards the front. And it sits flush inside there. So, did that. And then I'm just letting capillary action pull that in. And I will say that I cleaned this up earlier, and apparently I didn't clean it up well enough. So watch out for the seams that are in these areas here, because they don't have these seams on the real vehicle in these areas. Now, part of this is going to be important because of my choice. Remember that you can show this launcher deployed or stowed, and I'm going to be doing mine stowed just for convenience at this point. So anyways, there's that, and then this is the part that can be a little tricky just because you're trying to keep everything straight. The arm, if you will, that has the little protrusion gets hooked up with this tab going in this side here. So it sits like that. This, you know, it doesn't seem that complicated, but I have heard and seen so many stories about people reversing these or trying to get this to work and it not work or whatever, and it's just, I want to make sure it gets pointed out. For whatever reason, that just is a challenge. And it doesn't make any sense because the tabs on each arm are different and all that, but there's apparently been a lot of frustration with that in the past. Now, what I'm doing is putting both arms on now, gluing them. I'm going to let them sit for just a second. Then, making sure I have this set up like in the instructions, I will pry one loose so that, because this is supposed to be functional up and down. It's not really practical to keep it functional, you know, because you have to take the cover off and swing the front plate down and the lifting arm, and this launcher is a little simplified from the real launcher. So now that I've waited a few minutes, just gonna pop that over like that and then flip it upside down so I can make sure that that's all squared up. Now, again, I'm going to have this towed. And so for towed, it's just putting the cover on like so, and this cover goes on in there, and it's done. The only difference would be if you were going to have this deployed up, you put the little arm underneath like this. And that's actually physically holding it up on the side, so you can have that, but I'm not going to do that. And I don't see doing that in the future, so in that case you just put on some glue, and this just slides in place down here. And it's more, and make sure it's square, but this is more to make sure that it, or to give it something to lean against so it's not leaning all the way in, but there it is. And put that there. Put that on. And then a little bit of glue. Now that's going to be all locked down nice and tight. Now I want this to be rock solid, so I'm going to put glue into the joints to start with, and then just along the face here real quick to get that glued to the body. I just want this to be one solid piece that's just chunks right on. Again, I'm not going to be showing this off or in the open position, so I've got this extra piece. I just put it in the spares box. So the nice thing is, step 19 is essentially our last step, so we'll be covering that in the next video, and I'll make a small announcement about the some work that I've done, and yeah, I'll see you then.